As the season progresses, the Spurs going down has steadily shifted from the unthinkable to a huge possibility. As of the time of making this video, the club sits at 16 on the league table, having only 2 wins from their last 18 Premier League games, and is also the only Premier League team without a league win in 2026. But here's the real question. How did the 2019 Champions League runners-up fall so far that they're now staring at the championship instead of the Champions League? The answer can be traced back to 2001 when the ENIC era began, and Daniel Levy took over as Spurs executive chairman with a goal to establish Tottenham as a financially stable, globally competitive club. Modernize and grow the club's infrastructure position Spurs as consistent contenders in Europe. But the issue here is that Levy's initial goal wasn't simply to win trophies immediately, but to build Tottenham into a financially robust, world-class sporting institution capable of sustained success over the long term. But did he actually succeed in his bid to make Spurs a commercial giant? By 2019, the Spurs opened the world's most advanced stadium and consistently posted massive revenues. But what happens when success is defined by financial stability and infrastructure rather than silverware? This created a culture where making the top 4 and securing Champions League qualification was the ceiling, not the foundation. During the 2018 transfer window, Spurs became the first Premier League club to sign 0 players. As a result, they failed to boost a squad that has reached its peak. They had Kane, Son, Eriksen, Dele Alli, Lucas Moura, and a decent manager in Mauricio Pochettino. While rivals spent heavily on player recruitment, the Spurs board prioritized stadium financing. By the time they reached the 2019 Champions League final, the squad was exhausted and the cycle had ended. And then the collapse began. Christian Eriksen left for Inter. Kieran Trippier followed him out the door. Mauricio Pochettino, the architect of it all, was sacked. Dele Alli faded into a shadow of the fearless player he once was. Just like that, the golden era cracked. Spurs knew reinvestment was inevitable. The squad needed fresh energy, fresh ideas, and fresh belief. But what came next wasn't evolution. It was confusion. After Pochettino's dismissal, Tottenham lost more than a manager. They lost their identity. Instead of doubling down on the high-pressing, fearless football that had taken them to a Champions League final, they pivoted. Appointed Jose Mourinho and later Antonio Conte. 2 serial winners. 2 elite tacticians. 2 managers built for immediate results. On paper, it made sense. Silverware over sentiment. But here's the flaw. How do defensive, pragmatic managers thrive with a squad constructed for vertical pressing, fluid movement, and attacking bravery? How do you ask players wired for intensity to suddenly sit deep and suffer? The mismatch was inevitable. Tottenham weren't just changing managers. They were trying to rewrite their own DNA. And in football, identity isn't something you switch off overnight. When the experiments failed, Spurs hit reset again. Ange Postecoglou was appointed, a manager whose philosophy actually matched the kind of squad Tottenham had been trying to build for years. Front foot football, aggression, and high tempo. At first, it worked. The stadium was alive again. The football was bold. But then the cracks reopened. Postecoglou's extreme high line collided with a defense that simply wasn't elite enough to execute it. Every time a well-drilled side timed to run in behind, Spurs looked exposed. But the fact is that since 2019, Tottenham have spent over £450 million trying to rebuild, investing in players like Tanguy Ndombele, Steven Bergwijn, Richarlison, Christian Romero, Brennan Johnson, James Maddison, Dominic Solanke, Xavi Simons, Mohamed Kudus, and Conor Gallagher. The truth is, for years, the brilliance of Harry Kane and son Heung-min papered over structural cracks. Kane dropped deep to create. Son punished teams in transition. They turned dysfunction into points. But once that level of individual excellence fades or leaves, the flaws become impossible to hide. And now the bigger question looms. This isn't just about tactics anymore. It's about direction. For years, Spurs have moved from philosophy to philosophy. Pochettino's press, Mourinho's pragmatism, Conte's control, Postecoglou's chaos, without a clear recruitment identity tying it all together. Money has been spent, a lot of it. But recruitment without cohesion is just expensive gambling. So what is the fate of Spurs? There are only two realistic paths. 1. Commit fully to a football identity. Back a manager whose style aligns with recruitment, accept short-term pain, and build properly. 2. Continue chasing quick fixes and remain trapped in this cycle of false dawns.